Hello, everyone. Welcome to the ASM AMA. I'm sure you're all very happy. We're once again back here. We've got a couple of things to get through today, so we'll do a very quick run through of how this is going to move, and then we'll get on to introducing everyone we have here. So we have two different segments of our AMA today, rather than just one big one. Where we'll have multiple people coming up to tell you about certain things and topics. We're going to start off with the three lovely people you see here so far, and we'll get into some discussions. I won't spoil it yet, but let's go through and introduce everyone. David, hello, welcome.
Hey, how's it going? Can you hear me all right?
I can indeed. Sounds perfect.
Awesome. Really excited to jump into Next Legends and genome mining today. And I know that we've got a whole bunch of people in the community who have got some burning questions they want to get through with the team. So looking forward to those.
For sure. And nextly, we'll introduce Hal. How are you doing, buddy?
Yeah, good, mate. Good. Really nice to be back on. We've been busy, but the team's just been smacking them out of the park. So it's nice to have the oxygen to jump on and say hello to everyone. What's up?
Awesome. Yeah, it's good to have you back. It's been a little while, mate. It's been a little while.
I'm here, mate. Let's have it.
That's it. And last but certainly not least, we have Robo Business, aka Monkey Business, aka Alex. Welcome to the ASM AMA, mate. How you doing?
Thanks. Yeah, really good to be here. I was just trying to think. I feel like the last ASM AMA that I was on would have probably been, I don't know, like 8 months ago. It's funny having so many sort of through the ecosystem and all the South by Southwest sort of stuff going on and that as well. It's just been a constant torrent of interviews and Q&As, etc. And but yeah, it feels like it's been a while since I've been over on the ASM side of things. So yeah, it's really good to be here.
I'm busy 8 months.
Yeah, you think so,
Yeah, it's definitely hasn't been slow, but for anyone that doesn't know you, maybe Alex, do you want to do a short intro to let the community know who you are and what you do?
Sure, yeah. My name's Alex Mailer. I'm co-founder and CEO of Non-Fungible Labs, the team behind Fluf World. I go by many different names in this space, but normally appended with business in there at the start there, which all started from Monkey Business. Yeah, so we've been, obviously, Fluf World is our main project, but we've been working with the ASM on this incredibly exciting metaverse boxing experience under the Muhammad Ali brand, which we've titled The Next Legends, which we'll be delving into shortly. And it's been a really kind of great meeting of the minds on this one because we've been able to bring all of our creative talent and kind of work with the incredible development and engineering resources that the team at ASM have.
Fantastic. And speaking of the Next Legends, do you guys want to give us maybe a quick run through of what's going on, what's happened, and what the people need to know, or what they're allowed to know, I guess?
So we announced that to you guys quite a while ago, as you guys get all the early alpha before it goes out publicly, and we've just recently stood up the teaser website and got the press release out about it. Now they're starting to generate some activity out around the concept. In the background, we've been busy working away on the tools and character models and mocap and a bunch of engineering tasks that we need to do to get ready to deliver this. It's going to be it's a pretty big undertaking. I think it's the biggest single undertaking as far as the game side things go that we've done. And in partnering with both Non-Fungible Labs and authentic brands around it, sort of gives you the an idea of the scope and scale of what we're building out. And it's really exciting. We've got stuff moving really quickly, and I can't wait to dive in and play the boxing game, to be honest.
And it's all very exciting. And Alex, what does it sort of look like on your side of things with the Next Legends? How's that sort of, how does the partnership sort of work there?
Yeah, so we've, as mentioned, been the creative leads on this project, and it's been really exciting, with the kind of separation of expertise, I guess, between us and ASM. We're starting to work a lot closer together on a lot of our projects because, we have such incredible resources across both companies. But we, as non-fungible labs, have definitely kind of focused more on the creative side of things and building out just an incredible roster of creative talent, where ASM have kind of focused more on the development and engineering side. And that's not to say that, we don't have our own awesome dev team. Shout out to Santi and the rest of the guys. I'm sure, plenty of people have know that name very well now, and the ridiculously low gas fees that people have experienced in our midst. But it's been great, I think, as our creative team has grown, especially to the size it is now, to also, we have so much going on within Fluf World, and the specific sort of art direction that's happened there. But to allow the team to kind of flex their creative muscles a bit and explore something that is quite a different kind of art direction straight off the bat. And it's very interesting as well because, by the very nature of the metaverse, everything we do, we want to ensure that there is kind of interoperability built in at the base layer. So when you're building one kind of cohesive world, which is Fluf World, everything still falls under somewhat of the same art direction. But then to be able to build something that is quite unique in of itself, and then take a very sort of future-focused approach and understand how these different components could come together down the line in this, shared environment that we call the metaverse, has been really interesting for us to explore. And it's really great if you look at the kind of character generation process that we've gone through. And we've been, working with different strategic partners in the space, pulling apart lots of the different tools that already exist, and trying to understand how we can kind of achieve these lofty targets that we have around the sheer level of uniqueness for the different characters that are being developed. And it's actually where we're really starting to kind of align with the ASM team, is leveraging their incredible engineering expertise to start building out some of these tools in-house and really kind of have this, there's this incredible space where you have the kind of creative department and the engineering departments meeting when it comes to tools like, Blender and Maya and Unreal Engine, and just the kind of 3D engineering that can happen there, it's just incredible to see what some of these people can do when they kind of have the right resources and are just kind of set on this task of building these amazing plugins and provide all this range of tools to build out this incredible kind of suite of characters and world that we're building. So that's, I think, one of the most exciting parts for me.
It's interesting as we push the limit on
We're losing you there, David.
Yeah, you're cutting out, David.
Project that tools and oh, sorry, is that better?
That's all right. I know where you're going with it, and I was going to start to jump in on exactly the same note, actually, because the seeing the first level of all of this come together, the interaction between you guys at NFL, the engineering and creative teams at ASM, and seeing how technology and creativity really just coming together, and the technology enabling and like being a multiplier for the creativity has just been awesome to watch. The website release, the technical stuff that went behind getting that together, the mocap we were running, the way that we managed to get that 3D pipeline engineering in a decent place in that short time frame just shows that, yeah, when we mesh up and put our powers together, it gets pretty intense. I want to shout out to Marty and Guy on the branding, because yeah, I'm a big fan of the work that they've done there.
Yeah, it's been amazing work all around, and if you haven't checked out the website, you can do so now, thenextlegends.xyz. It is also an announcements channel if you do want to click on the link. I believe Carmen has just posted that in Settled World for everyone too. And Alex, you touched on the idea of sort of the character generation / creation. Is there any more of that process you can kind of share with us of, you know, how that comes about or how that works?
Yeah, I guess without delving too deep into the nitty gritty, we want to kind of leave some surprises. We really wanted to ensure that when it came to character generation for this project, that every character was kind of inherently unique from like a biological level, really, if you break it down that much. So rather than it just being, oh, you know, these are the same character, but this one's got a different hat or whatever it may be. You know, we want the character generation, as I say, to be entirely unique, but also to be a journey. We have some very interesting stuff I don't want to delve too much into about how the actual user gets taken on that character creation journey. But it's to basically look at, like, okay, let's strip away all of the secondary aspects, you know, the gloves, the other clothing elements, and, you know, we've played with rarity and forms of animation, expression, all this sort of stuff as well. Stripping all of that away, really getting down to the base character. How can we build out, you know, a range of thousands, tens of thousands, potentially far more of these characters that are inherently unique at the very base level? And that's taken, you know, it takes a lot of kind of asset creation from the creative standpoint, but then, you know, especially if you're trying to build hundreds of thousands or more of these characters, you can't do that all just with individual characters modeling. Otherwise it would take a ridiculously large team. So that's where working with some of this kind of existing plugins, but also some of the stuff that we're building in-house with the ASM team, is to be able to have a far more kind of dynamic approach to the character creation and reshaping of different formats using a kind of range or a spectrum of different pre-existing assets that we've built in-house. So it's I think, looking at what's happened in the space when it comes to NFTs to date and how uniqueness is normally driven, I think we've definitely kind of gone above and beyond what I've seen from anyone else in the space to date. And honestly, I hope it kind of start to set a new standard of what people expect from NFTs, because, you know, it's such a wild space to exist in, and, you know, this last sort of year and a half to see how everything has evolved. But some projects out there are just lazy. Not pointing any fingers at anyone or anything, but, like, you know, you look at them and you're like, wow, okay, this is like, there's some really low effort stuff that's gone in here. So I hope that, you know, once we've kind of rolled out more of the development and people actually go through that character creation journey, they actually really feel the love and care and attention to detail that's gone into building out all of these incredibly unique characters, and that other people kind of, you know, that it raises the bar across the board, and other people kind of, you know, start to follow suit.
Yeah, I wanted to chime in.
I mean, the truth is that every time non-fungible labs produces something, it sets a new standard.
You touched on the evolution aspect there, which is really interesting. And I was just going to talk about how we're looking at this from a technical evolution standpoint as well, because these assets are going to be around for a while. right? And they're assets that are moving into a growing and emerging open metaverse environment. And so when you talk about evolution there, it's also about allowing the technology that expresses these characters, these genetic forms, allowing that technology to evolve as well. And that's something we've talked about a bit, Alex, and it's pretty exciting when we start to think about being able to evolve the technology and the way in which these forms are expressed over time, so that they can evolve with the technology of the open metaverse in the coming decades.
Yeah,
Really
definitely.
amazing work.
You've got to take that future focused lens on these sorts of things. Too many projects are just got, this is our 6 to 12 month roadmap. This is what we're going to do, and then afterwards we'll see. But it's especially in a space like this where there's so much going on. You've got to really kind of build in these models that allow for all of this future development down the line as well.
Yeah, evolutionary architectures, that's my jam.
I love your big buzzwords, Hal.
Exactly, and it's really amazing to see how it's all sort of coming together. All right, let's start taking some questions from the community. This is our the next Legends segment, so if you do have any questions for the team in regards to that project, please pop your hands up and jump up on board. Tybo, welcome to the stage.
So I wanted to ask a question, because with the minting of a character, the genome matrix is going to have a set of strengths and weaknesses. Will that affect what type of boxing character I'll end up having, or is that something that you guys aren't disclosing yet?
I can jump in on that one if you like. And we're working with some insanely amazing game designers. And what we're talking about here is AI gamification, which is really pushing a boundary, and it's a pioneering effort into a whole new paradigm within gaming. And so we don't want to make any assumptions and be like, oh yeah, that's how it's going to work, because we really want to bring in the experts in terms of gamification, in terms of that game design. And so we're absolutely thinking, solutioning, and designing in this space right now, but we wouldn't want to lock ourselves away from unlocking a game-changing mechanic,
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Are we gonna see more of this, in the some visual representations other than the website anytime soon, or is that still further down the line?
I'll leave that to our leak master. I think David's in charge of leaks.
I think we're gonna be producing a steady amount of sort of progress updates and peeks into what's been developed. So I don't intend for us to go quiet for a long period of time about it. We'd like to share with you guys what we're doing and get feedback as we go through the process. So yes, you'll be seeing more as we get through it. We've got a teaser video coming up soon, which is going to be epic.
Awesome. Looking forward to it. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks very much, Tybo. Always a pleasure to have you up on stage.
Sure.
Cheers, dude.
All right. They haven't joined yet. Let's go to the next one. They must have left their keyboard.
Hello.
Guzi, welcome to the stage.
Hey, what's up, guys?
Hey.
Yeah, so quick question. I'm excited about this interview because the lineup feels like, I don't know, a rave of some sort between big brains. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to this. Also, a note to you guys. I think lately I'm starting to, you're starting to drop more info that allows us to connect the vision. So it's funny how I feel already familiar with what Fluf World could look like. And there's still so much mystery where it could be completely different from what I'm expecting. So I think you guys are killing it on that end.
Thank you.
But yeah, so my question for today is I'm still trying to understand at what point is the interaction, like the game interaction, going on from the side of the user compared to the AI? Like, do we have any input, or is the gamification separate? Do they collide at some point in the middle? Are they mixed together, or is it only one or the other?
We can talk to this one in the context of AFA.
Um,
Sorry, David, go ahead. I think you might be a bit choppy there, though.
Sorry, is that better?
Much better.
Can you hear me? Okay.
Yeah,
Cool.
we got you.
So the idea around this is extending on our AI gamification concept, in which we're sort of launching with AFA. AFA will obviously come out before Next Legends, but it's around the management. So AFA is around the sort of a team management idea where you take up the role of deciding what they train on and how they train and what they do in the games, and then you kind of let them go and see what they do with the training and information you've given them. And if you've done a good enough job, they'll perform really well. It's going to be a similar concept with Next Legends, but with the concept of going on a journey as well. So you're going on a journey throughout this Next Legends world, and your character is going to grow and evolve and compete as it goes through this journey.
Interesting,
Yeah.
interesting. So pretty much like you're giving it input, like technical input. So, and I'm
I'll
seeing
add
like
some,
Mhm.
I'll add some color and additional detail to that, because I think
Oh,
it's a really important part of our message and actually our vision and mission. And we're keying up a show soon on a pretty awesome podcast network that we're looking forward to, where we're going to talk to this stuff specifically. But if you imagine AI gamification for reinforcement learning models learning to play football, there's a really important educational side to this, where we intend to provide a relatively simple to understand interface where you can incentivize your players to play in different ways without understanding anything about reinforcement learning, for example. But that's the top layer. And we intend to educate and incentivize people to then pop that layer open and go down to a lower level with slightly more exposure to the inner workings of reinforcement learning. So then you might be, for example, tweaking the incentive system fine-grained and giving your player, a higher incentive to score goals and a lower incentive to block shots, for example. And then you might want to pop the layer again and get down to expert level and start really tweaking, the finer knobs and levers of reinforcement learning. And then you might pop the hood again and start, writing some code. And so the code writing may not be part of the AFA, but the AFA experience. But what I'm trying to paint here is that through our AI gamification, we really want to introduce people to owning, training, trading, and analyzing the performance of AI as a really fun and engaging thing. And through that process, we will build people's confidence and understanding of AI. And that's a really key part of our mission.
Okay, so man, you opened a bunch of Pandora boxes, but I'm gonna restrict it to the two that I care about the most. But or shall I say rabbit holes? But pretty much like, okay, so the input you're giving to the, but the input that you're giving to the machine, so I'm assuming that we can start developing forms of input that can be in different formats, such as through music or through journaling or through aspects of our lives that can be interactional with the ecosystem. But now, do you guys already know that aspect? Or as of now, you're starting from one type of input, which is the one coding side or the game itself, and then potentially expanding? And if so, how would you?
Yeah, so AFA is the initial environment, and reinforcement learning learns by experience. right? So you put the model into a football field and you tell it that it's done well if it scores a goal, and it will work out the best way to score goals and do well. And so that's just one side of AI gamification that leverages that particular model. But what you're talking about is the wider reaching applications of this technology. And really, we're picking a handful of really exciting places where we're putting our effort to show how impactful and widely applicable the protocol is. But also, we're through that effort, we're building out platform, which in turn allows the community to come around and build their own. And this is open technology. Everything in the platform is open source, and we intend to become, core metaverse infrastructure, actually, and to encourage a wider community of people to come and develop those use cases and those interesting environments for ASM brains to do cool stuff.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds awesome. So at that point, I'm guessing that the direction will be guided by ownership rather than by contract with the main brand. Or else, if you had to put in place systems of partnership for every single collaboration, then ownership wouldn't become as important. But on that end, okay, so now the last question, small question, but how would you avoid bad use?
Sorry, what did you say? Bad views? I didn't get that.
Like the bad use of the AI, considering that we get to play with it and we get to teach
Bad
it.
use.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, we are here
So
to
on a individual level, sorry.
Go ahead, David. You can take this one. Go for it.
On an individual level, in the games and use cases that we put out, on an AI level, if you've trained your AI incorrectly, you can roll back through the memory tree if that's what you were meaning, or if you're meaning more like unethical use of the platform, and that's something that the DAO can decide on. So if somebody creates something that's unethical, and the DAO and all the community decide as a whole that they don't want that use case officially supported by the protocol, then they can vote to kick them off. I think we can't be the gatekeepers for that because it is an open and decentralized protocol. We don't have control over it once things are released to you guys to manage and own. But the platform needs to have the tools in place to be able to moderate from those kinds of extreme examples.
It's a really, really awesome question, though, and this actually applies to the wider world of AI in some depth. With our protocol, the tokenization through non-fungible intelligence, allowing people to own, trade, interoperate, and compose AIs, it doesn't actually enable and wouldn't be able to disable, bad uses of AI. But another part of our platform, which leans more heavily into the democratization of AI, is the ASM Hivemind architecture, which we're working on and deep in research on at the moment. And this tackles exactly this problem in that AIs that are a part of our everyday critical infrastructure will become more and more ubiquitous in our experience over the next few years, decade, and so on. And so the Hivemind allows a community to get around and co-govern, co-own, and co-evolve an AI. And this allows us to, as a community, ensure that the AIs that are becoming a critical part of our everyday infrastructure don't go off track and start doing some dodgy stuff. So non-fungible intelligence and AI gamification itself doesn't necessarily lean into this, but the latter parts of the protocol that we're in research and development on right now, they really do. They start to address these things, and that's the democratization of AI side of things.
I love that all of this has been explained by, one of the iconic AIs that's gone bad in terms of your digital persona right now.
Hal, yeah, don't read into that too much, guys.
It's tongue in cheek. Trust me.
But all right, guys. No, thank you so much for the answers and the clarification. So yeah, I'll step down and enjoy the conversation.
Awesome
You have a
questions, man.
beautiful
Thank
day.
you.
Bye bye.
You too. Have a good evening.
Thanks, bro.
Yeah, thanks for coming up on stage and asking the moral compass of people using the AI and the AI itself from the man himself with the compromised picture at least. We've got we've got a little bit more time for a couple more questions around the next legends, and then we'll get to our next topic. Just a little FYI though, we actually do have a giveaway running on in the background of this AMA. There will be a random winner picked from the audience that will win an all-star from our community wallet. So just as an FYI, if you're in here, you do have a chance to win that. But I will invite the next speaker up on stage and see what they've got to ask. Atari, welcome to the stage.
Hey guys, what's going on? How y'all doing?
Hey.
Hey, am I all good? No ruggish at all? Straight audio?
Sounds good
Yeah,
to
you
me.
good?
Doing better than
Okay.
me.
I actually came up with some questions. For once, I didn't come to just shit post up here. Okay, so is just to verify, so I stay on track. This is particularly talking about just in specific to the Muhammad Ali game
Yes.
for the
Yes.
topic right now. Okay, so like, excuse me. So, could this Muhammad Ali character, you had mentioned, was the word adventure you said, David, when you said that they were going to have, more than just a fighting purpose? I don't want to misquote.
Yeah, so I think I used the word journey.
Journey,
That
yes.
you're going on a journey with this. Yeah.
Okay. So, okay. I won't even dive into that. I just wanted to know that. So, God, I had a couple questions about genome mining, but I'll wait. Okay, one more thing. In regards to like the machine learning, this is this similar to what I believe, David, you had brought about up on like an old Nor podcast about how Forza had dropped the ball on this? Is this kind of a combination of like script writing evolving with machine learning, all combined together with whatever? I'm just trying to understand it on like a layman's level of how the AI brains work. Would that make sense, or could you break it down in regards to what I'm asking about the intelligence?
Yeah, so I think I was talking about how there is machine learning in the background of the Forza driver tire system, but they dropped the ball on not exposing any of that to the users where they could own and interact with it. It seemed like a major missed opportunity on their behalf, and we intend to capitalize on that missed opportunity and really pioneer in this space. So one thing that I'm 100% convinced of is that AI is not just a immensely powerful tool. It's also something that's fun and interesting to engage with, and can create really immersive experiences for people who are interacting with it, and we want to express that through the experiences that we're creating.
And can I just ask just one question, just relating to what you just said? Are you pretty much, because you had made a joke, or Aaron did, about Asta being a stable coin, are you gonna basically be able to genome mine? You'll probably talk about this, but you're either going to be able to genome mine and use your Asto. You earn Asto, and you can use that to like upgrade your fighter and characters and whatnot, or you can use it to buy more brains. Is that is that understanding correct?
Yeah, so Asto has got a lot of utility and a lot of uses. So the first one being genome mining, which is coming out shortly, and we're going to talk about that very soon. But it'll be used as a token that fuels the experiences within the games that we partner on, as well as doing other really cool utility things. So it really is the fuel that drives the Alter State Machine ecosystem.
Okay. Yeah, it's just like the BTC Hornet in me, and I was thinking about how Jeffrey said you guys just wanted as much ASTO as possible, and I'm trying to figure out how you guys are going to regulate the price. You know how the rabbit hole goes deep, but all right. Thanks for answering my question and bringing me up on stage, guys. I did have a few other questions if at the end nobody has any regarding genome mining and stuff, but as always, mad respect to all of you working behind the scenes. I highly appreciate it.
Awesome. Thanks, man. Thanks for the questions.
Thanks.
Yeah,
Thanks,
thank you.
Yeah, thanks so much, and that we'll be wrapping up. I think this segment of the AMA. We do have another one coming up. Any sign off words from yourself, Alex, just in regards to, maybe there's been a lot of sort of AI questions. Is there anything from your end that you're excited to see in regards to how that will evolve potentially in the space that you guys are working in?
Can we take one more question? Because I know Chasing
Oh,
Tails
okay.
had a
All
few
right.
written
Chasing
down,
Tails has
and I
got
don't
one?
want to rug her.
Okay. All right. We'll let Chasing Tails on board. Just before we wrap up this segment, David has saved the Plunger Queen herself from being rugged. Welcome.
Thanks, David.
All good.
No, I do have a few questions, but I'll keep it to the next Legends. I was just wondering if, I know you've talked about like character design coming from sort of the non-fungible lab side, and obviously the AI coming from the ASM side and stuff. Where is the game design coming from? Is that like another partnership, or is that a studio that you guys got in-house, or?
It's
Yeah,
it's
so
internal, mostly driven by ASM's team at the moment, but it's really a shared effort through there in terms of how we can leverage the expertise and knowledge. And I mean, there's a lot of gamers within our ecosystem, so to be able to leverage all of that shared expertise to build out the best game models possible.
So we've got some upcoming announcements that will probably clarify this picture a little bit. But between the ecosystem, we have a center of excellence around gaming that is focused on creating AAA sort of quality game experiences. That is reached out. So in Alter State Machine, we've got a roadmap for our protocol and platform tools, and they line up with the release of these games. So we're building this irrespective of whether Next Legends happened or not, but the releases of these experiences and use cases line up to deliver those experiences, and then because we can partner with non-fungible labs who can do the character and 3D design side, they can do that in parallel with the AI tools, and then the center of excellence around gaming can build out the game experience as we roll out these sort of three different things in parallel. So it doesn't interrupt what we're doing. We're building these tools anyway. On the AI side, I mean that it delays any of the other work that we're working on because it's in line with our existing roadmap. But we have a specialized group of people between the ecosystem companies that are executing on these use cases for us.
Awesome.
Yeah,
And just
specifically
one last
I was just going to add, specifically on the game design, we're pulling in some pretty top names there. We can't talk about it right now, but we've got people coming in with some pretty heavy hitting backgrounds, which is really exciting.
That sounds awesome. And I was just wondering, like, as far as like gamification and things like that. So if you have a brain in your character and say you get knocked out, as in like knocked out cold in a boxing match, does that mean that that brain needs to have a little time out and can't fight
Concussion.
for awesome time, or
Love
kind
it.
of feel
Concussion.
That's interesting. There is actually a an email issue called brain damage that we've recently over in context of as the team were working on
it
it.
needs to pass the test of not having been concussed to fight again, sort of thing.
I love this concept from a gamification perspective. You're chopping in and out a little bit, David. We're losing you from time to time.
It's an interesting concept, though.
Yeah, that is a game.
I think
Sorry,
David
Dave.
needs to guy to sort out his internet.
Yeah, we're having some connectivity issues with you, David, but try and jump back in a little bit. But yeah, I love that idea as a gamification concept. Like if you take some big hits, then you essentially have like this concussion cooldown period where you have to check if your brain is like fit to fight again. That's a dope idea. We'll be feeding that into the process.
Maybe it has to go and race some cars for a little while until it until it can box again.
I wouldn't advise someone with brain damage racing cars, but yeah, maybe something like that.
Demolition derby or something.
I think the mycelium will probably help.
Oh, mycelium. Interesting.
Exactly. Rewire those neural pathways.
Awesome. That's it for me for a minute, guys.
Awesome.
Thanks, Tails.
Thank you very much, Tails. All right, and I think after David has saved Tails from the waiting list, I think that will wrap up our next Legends segment. We're a little bit over time, but that's fine. Lots of burning questions. Alex, any sign-off notes from yourself?
No, I think we've covered everything. I think it's just really exciting to bring this kind of first collaboration to life, and I don't think anyone is ready for the next stages of evolution of this project. Myself, definitely, it's been an incredible journey just to explore getting into the depth of the character creation side, but also really delving into a lot of the game mechanics and really getting a kind of first-hand grips on what the ASM team are doing with AI as well. Is in the early days of this ecosystem, it was even then kind of relatively hard to stay on top of everything that was going on. But now that it's expanded so much, and the level of depth of knowledge that's come in across the ecosystem in these different specialities, it's just an incredible environment to work in and to be able to kind of leverage all of this expertise that we have. So yeah, I'm really excited, and I can't wait to share with you all the next stages of development.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Alex. It's been a pleasure to have you here for this topic. David, how's your audio now, mate? You doing well? You doing good?
Well, you tell me.
Yeah, seems okay. I think it just comes in and out, so we'll periodically let you know. But welcome to the stage, Erin. Hello, welcome.
Hello.
For those that may not know you, do you want to give yourself a short intro? You've been here a couple of times, but just for those new listeners.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. I'm Erin, also known as Degen Trader Girl, and I think many of you know me, but if you've consumed any altered education content that has been produced, that was from me, and I have worked with ASM since last October, and their head of strategy.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Awesome. Now, we're going to be moving into our second topic of the day, and this is our genome mining segment. Do you guys want to give us sort of a quick overview, maybe, of what's happening, what's happened, and what to expect before we get into some questions?
Yeah, I was wondering if maybe. Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
No.
Who wants it?
I'll throw it over to Erin since my audio is a bit shit.
All right. Erin, take it away.
Yeah, so we are extremely excited to be launching genome mining very soon, and are just so excited to get this out into the community. And to be completely honest, I'm very excited to mine my own brains. Um, so the idea behind genome mining, as most of you will know that have been with us for a while, but just in case, the idea behind genome mining is the ability to mine Gen 2 brains. And so these are brains that are functionally the same as our Genesis brains, but don't have all the special access and attributes and abilities outside of the games and execution environments that the Genesis brains do. And so the idea behind genome mining is that we call it that because you will be able to quite literally mine a Gen 2 brain. So we're very excited to announce that genome mining is on track to start in mid-June. The way that this is going to work is that we're going to be starting to pull back a bit of the curtain on the deep lore of Aetha Moon and of the ecosystem as a whole. And there's going to be some really exciting content coming out over the first couple of weeks that will explain a lot of this more. But basically, some of you who are really paying attention and playing this game across the ecosystem will have seen a mysterious character emerge by the name of Professor Jenny Bryan. And this particular character is extremely crucial to the concept of Gen 2 brains. And we're going to start to see things coming from Professor Bryan and learn more about this. But essentially, Professor Jenny Bryan, one of the most renowned scientists in the metaverse, was the first person to discover how to create a Gen 2 brain using asto energy. And so in order to utilize the device that Professor Jenny Bryan created, you will need to have asto energy. We will be opening up to the community the ability to stake asto to produce asto energy. And so this will be completely on chain. So anyone who holds asto can come in and stake it starting in mid-June and start to accrue this asto energy. And we want to have a period of time where people have enough time to build that asto energy up. And at some point after that, probably looking at about 60 days or so, we will open up the mining components, and you will actually be able to go and interact and mine brains in a extremely fun and interactive and gamified way from Aetha Moon. And I think that's probably all I can say about that piece of it at this point. But for now, we wanted to explain the concept of how it worked and start to talk about asto energy and the concept of the more asto that you have staked and the longer that you've staked it, the more asto energy that you will earn. And that asto energy will be required to power up Professor Jenny Bryan's device to mine Gen 2 brains.
I am so excited. Can I just say how expertly you tiptoed through that minefield of deep alpha? I'm so impressed.
Uh,
Now just wait for the questions.
yeah, I hope. Yeah, you could probably hear in my voice how tiptoeing I was through all of that.
Well played.
Uh, is there Dan, do we want to open it up for questions on
for
all
sure.
of this? Okay.
Yeah, we can. Yeah, questions are open, so you can start raising your hands at any point of time for your questions regarding genome mining, especially with all the information Erin has just dropped on your heads. Obviously, everyone's kind of had an idea around how genome mining works in their own brains, but I don't think anyone was ready for the full gamification of it, as well as, I think one of the things that's definitely profound here is that it's not just go click a button, wait, collect brain. There is some fun to be had here, which is it's exactly what you want. You want a little bit of fun when you get your brains. But Burning Whale, welcome to the stage.
Fun
Hi,
and
guys.
strategy.
Sorry. Hi.
Sorry,
One
off you go.
question. If I own only one Genesis brain in the future, can I rent another Genesis brain to create a new brain with the hereditary AI?
Yeah, so this is a question that has popped up a few times. And one of the cool things about building open projects like this is that it gives the opportunity for anybody to come in and solve those problems. And I know there are some people who are working on the renting and leasing and loaning of assets across the whole NFT space to solve, because this is not just a something that's just going to apply to altered state machine Genesis brains. It's going to apply to a whole bunch of use cases. So it's a really great example of the fact that we don't have to solve everything out there, is that it's a community building together interoperable tools to solve these kinds of problems.
Okay, thank you.
All good.
Awesome. Thank you for your question. And as David said, there's lots of people out there to solve any problem there might be in any community, really, which is one of the really nice things about how the metaverse works. Atari, welcome back. I remember you had burning questions for genome mining.
I did, and I'm going to look like such an idiot if it's something that was already answered in like a previous AMA, just because I've been, you know how it goes. There's a lot going on in this space. But did you announce
Yeah, it's all
anything of
good.
how you're? Thanks, brother. I appreciate that. Did you announce anything on what you're going to do for the people that just staked all their ASTO into LP?
Yeah, that's a great question. Also, Atari God, it was very nice to meet you at South by Southwest.
Thank
I
you.
think this is the first time we may have talked since then.
Yes,
But
yes, yes.
yes, anyone that holds LP tokens that were from staking either of the assets in the LBA or the ASTO Discovery Auction will be able to participate in genome mining. And we will have a mechanism such that those LP tokens, if they remain LP tokens, can catch up to the ASTO that was staked, and maybe even get a little bit of a boost, maybe a little extra ASTO energy. So thankfully, this incredible tool created by Professor Brian can take ASTO or LP tokens and create ASTO energy.
It sounds like Asto Energy is going to definitely bring us to the moon or have something to do with it. So yeah, I'm excited on that, and thank you for the explanation. I believe in you guys 100%. I just was curious about that, and I wanted to ask you. I don't even know if this is something you can answer, but do you think in like a year from now I will be able to play one of your games on my phone, my computer, and actually like monetize and like interact with it, or is that not even something that you can answer now?
I would say that's
We'll
definitely
have
within the realms of what we're
yeah,
aiming for.
Okay.
yeah,
All right. Sounds good.
most certainly.
Yeah. That was pretty much it. I was just curious about the LP, and I appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
Thanks,
Awesome.
Brad.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank you for your
Tari.
questions. All right. Just waiting for our lovely Chasing Tails to return. Welcome, welcome. You can now ask your burning questions for the genome mining event.
Thank you. This one's actually for PJ, since he's asleep. Um,
Hi,
he
PJ.
wanted, he wanted some clarification around the rate of return. So if he's staking, for example, 10k ASTO, will he get 10 times the return as someone staking 1k ASTO? So the same, for example, the same emission rate.
That's a great question that I don't know that we are fully ready to answer, but the short answer is yes. The longer that the ASO is staked, you could consider kind of a streak. The longer that the ASTO is staked, as well as the more ASTO that is staked, will proportionately earn more ASTO energy.
Yeah, I think we can safely say what he's asking is it linear? I think we can safely say it is at very least linear. And what Erin's pointing out is that through the gamification mechanism, you'll get more than linear return based on time staked and whatnot. We'll release some more detail on this because it's actually quite hard to give accurate answers to that just over audio. So tell PJ to hold tight, and we'll release some something to give them a clearer view of how that curve looks.
That's awesome. And that helps for the people at the other end of the scale too, who only have a small amount to understand,
Yes.
what to do. And I'll just dig one other thing, which I'm not sure if you can say any more about the All-Stars and when they come into play for getting some ASTO and the acclaim. David's been dropping a few fun hints around the gamification of that, and so then they can join in with this genome mining too.
Sure. I mean, on our roadmap, that is an item that is very closely following genome mining. So it's not too far off.
Hate soon.
You do bring up something else that I really wanted to touch on, Chasing Tails, which is something that is very important to us that we've talked about multiple times. We've had this idea from the start that genome mining will be the way for community members that had a Genesis box to really flush out the entirety of their APHA team. So if you minted a Genesis box or you bought one on a secondary market, you of course had 1 Genesis brain and 4 Genesis All-Stars, but you were short 3 brains to be able to play the APHA game. And so one thing that we can say with absolute certainty is that if you have 7152 ASTO, which was the amount of ASTO that you could get from a Genesis brain by claiming against the airdrop, that you will get a bare minimum of 3 brains during genome mining. And I'm happy to say it's looking like it's actually going to be a good bit more than that.
But then we all bought Atom.
But then you all have and we'll
That's been
be
taken into account.
yes, been taken into account.
Yeah, I'm also looking at it. I have a lot of friends who got an entry into here after boxes and just have All-Stars as well. So and they're asking around when, so they're hoping to be able to, they've got 4 All-Stars, for example, when they'll be able to start sort of.
The mechanism that we have designed that we'll be ramping up the content over the next 2 to 3 weeks pretty rapidly. That'll start to explain this in really granular detail and really put some concrete dates around this. But the way that we've designed it is with this sort of rolling format. such that if you don't have enough asto energy to ment a Gen 2 brain immediately, there will be time. So even a small amount of asto staked over a longer period of time can still be enough to power the device to mine a Gen 2 brain. So it's definitely something that it does not have to be immediate. If the 60 days isn't long enough, because the pile of asto that's going in and being staked is a little bit smaller, it's okay. The asto the asto can just be staked for longer. And for even those who do have quite a bit of asto to stake, once the ability to mint opens up, the asto just keeps producing asto energy, and the longer it is staked, the longer your streak is going. So hopefully
Awesome.
some pretty powerful mechanisms there to get anyone to the Gen 2 brain. That's one of the wonderful things about asto, that we're going to really see this genome mining really being the first utility of this utility token. We get to see asto producing assets for the holders without losing their asto in the process.
That's awesome. I love that. That was all for me at the minute.
Thanks, Chasing Tails.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you for
Thank
your
you.
questions as always. Mukaton, welcome to the stage. I'm not sure if I said that right. Just had a guess.
Yeah, cool. However you want to say it. I'm just wondering with the genome mining, would we want to be training our Genesis brains before mining a fresh brain in order to pass on the memories or the training to it? Yeah.
That's an
Yeah,
interesting
just
question.
wondering if it's worth mining a brain before actually having a trained brain in order to maximize the use of our Genesis brains. Cheers.
I feel like we might be mixing up a few different concepts within the protocol here. But go ahead, Erin, if you wanted to jump in.
Yeah, I was just going to clarify that the Gen 2 brains are not the same as as a baby brain, which
Yeah.
might be the product of splicing or hereditary AI.
Yeah, there's a key technical distinction to make there, which will probably make this make sense. When the genome matrix within every brain is the diversity driver that defines the abilities and the characteristics of a brain within any game or execution environment. And so it doesn't make sense to transfer a memory, if you will, from one brain, which has a completely different genome matrix, to another brain, because it doesn't have the same ability. So it hasn't learned to do things in the specific way that is optimized for its abilities. But through splicing, we will get a genome matrix that is derived from the parents, and therefore the memories can be meshed to actually bootstrap that brain with abilities. So there's a couple of different concepts that we're twisting up here. And when we're mining Gen 2 brains in genome mining, we are getting unique genomes, hence the name, but they are empty vessels ready to be trained in the context of their unique genome.
Does that answer your
And I
question?
think you were referring to hereditary AI specifically. And to answer your question, when it comes to splicing in hereditary AI, yeah, it's a good idea to train your brain first before you undertake that activity. But that won't be released until after the first use case is released.
Does that answer your question, Mukton?
Yeah, absolutely. Cheers.
Perfect.
Thanks,
All
dude.
right. Thank you very much for your questions indeed. JBex, welcome to the stage.
Hey guys, can you hear me?
We can indeed.
Okay, great. Thanks for having me, guys. My question is the generation 2 brains. Is there a set limit, max supply of these, or is it just unlimited?
That's a great question. And actually a very important concept that we did want to talk about, which is that there are a lot of things coming, some of which are announced, that will use brains, and many that are soon to come. And even beyond that, the protocol will be open sourced and environments will be built that will require even more brains. So the one can imagine quite easily the number of brains needed across all execution environments is going to be quite large. And so the way that we have thought about this is the DAO will control the supply and the releases of these genome mining events. And so actually one of the things that you'll be seeing very soon is the first proposal, the first genome mining proposal going to the DAO, to the Harlan DAO, which is the instantiation DAO as we spin up the Elder DAO, that will actually propose the number of brains in this event. But it will not be the number of Gen 2 brains in this event won't be the total number of Gen 2 brains that we'll ever have. As more games come out, as other environments come out, as people start building on the protocol, we'll need quite a few of these. But a very, very important thing to say here is there will only ever be 10,000 Genesis brains, and those will remain scarce.
Okay. Yeah, that's it. Thank you, guys. I appreciate it.
Thanks.
Awesome.
Right.
Thank you for your
Good luck, guys.
time.
Thank you.
Max, welcome to the stage. I'm sure you have many burning questions that we'll struggle to answer.
Oh, I hope not. But thanks for welcoming me to the stage and thanks for putting on the event. My question is about how in somewhat early July, the 3-month period for the original liquidity bootstrap auction will be coming to an end. But we've talked about the importance of having deep liquidity for the ASTO token. What are we doing to prevent the participants from removing their liquidity and leaving the ASTO token with not significant deep liquidity pool?
Yep. So one of the things you can do with your LP tokens is participate in genome mining, which gives you a boost, which will incentivize people to hold on to the LP tokens. We've also got a whole bunch of other LP rewards that are in planning at the moment that we can roll out as and when is needed. But the idea is to get utility for the ASTO token, where people are actually using it, not just locking it up, and creating demand and fueling the ecosystem. The other thing that we're doing is in the next couple of weeks, we're launching on at least one new exchange, and we'll be rolling out exchange listings over the next few months as soon as they're ready to go.
Yeah, this touches on quite an interesting piece as well around ASTO energy, because getting a boost on some of the plans we've got around LP incentives help you to increase ASTO energy. And ASTO energy is not just for genome mining. ASTO energy is an interoperable part of our platform
Ooh,
we can
alpha
we can.
Hal.
I've been cut off. But yeah, it can be, let's just say it can be integrated in gamified experiences around the ecosystem.
Thanks for your answers, friends.
Thanks, Max.
All good. Thank you.
Cheers, dude.
No problem at all. It seems like we have a new plumber in the reins here with Erin, trying to stop Hal from spoiling some alpha out there, mate. Trying to keep it locked down, you know.
That's a pretty big piece of alpha. That Asto energy can be used for much more than just genome mining. So more on that soon.
More on that soon, indeed. Stereoscopic, welcome to the stage.
Hello, good morning. Can you hear me?
We can indeed.
Okay, wonderful. Thanks for putting on this AMA. I just joined here. It's 7 a.m. for me, but so hopefully this hasn't been asked yet. It was specifically on the splicing. So I have now 2 brains, which are both quite average, and I was wondering, when they produce baby brains, will they have a chance to produce, like, what abilities will this baby brain have? Could it be more than average brain, or how does it work?
So, do you want to take this one away, Hal? No, we lost Hal.
Oh no, I'm back in now.
I might have lost Hal.
He's here.
I was mildly distracted because Tails was trolling me on Settled World. So can you repeat the question? I happily take it. Apologies.
Okay. So basically, I have 2 brains that are both kind of average IQ, or let's say that the numbers on the genome map. If I don't know if IQ is official. So the question is, if I splice these 2 brains, what are the chances of them producing genome maps with high or low numbers? I mean, like, is there a randomness to this?
Yeah, that's a really good question. And actually, you can just reference nature for this one, right? If you've messed around with looking at genetics or genetic algorithms, you'll know that it doesn't work without mutation. And you have to have some level of mutation to be able to find those far-reaching parts of the tree. So the answer is yes, there is some mutation, and if you want to call it randomness, to the process. But the output would definitely be strongly correlated and derivative.
Okay. So 2 brains, then, if you're lucky enough to have 2 brains with very high IQ, let's say, there's a higher probability of producing a baby brain with high IQ.
Yeah, I think it's safe to say that that's the intention, and that's the way that that you can expect things to work. But as we see in nature, and the way that mutation works, it doesn't always come out that way. And that's the beauty of nature, and that's really what we're trying to simulate in terms of proper diversity drivers into these environments, because that's the spice of life, that's the variety, that's the things that keep things interesting. And that's why non-deterministic gaming with AI is something that we're so into and we believe in so much.
Can I just add something onto that there? That the IQ is just a colloquialism.
And one interesting thing to think about is that throughout your journeys in the metaverse, you might come across
I think we've lost David there again. We might have to do a text version of David's answers today.
He got lost in the metaverse. Sorry, guys.
Yeah.
Maybe they knew he was about to leak some major alpha. I did want to just follow up on something that Hal said really fast, just clarification that IQ is just a colloquialism, and that the is a community created tool, and is not officially how we are looking at the brains, and more on that soon.
Yeah, and this is worth sort of unpacking a little bit, just in that this is open technology, and like I was saying before, we're building out the platform to support like fertile organic growth of cool experiences and use cases of the protocol, um, and essentially what we're talking about there is that it needs to remain open, essentially. Erin, can you flesh that out a little bit more for me?
Yeah, I think this is something that we have a whole piece coming out on soon, that will speak a bit more to this. But to Hal's point, that the brains will be able to be interpreted in different environments in different ways, and so it's fair to say that it won't always be that in every environment that a high number is good and a low number is bad. And that David has multiple times given the example of what if clumsiness was an attribute. You can imagine a world where you might not want a brain that has a high IQ in clumsiness in a particular execution environment. So more on this concept soon, I think.
Yeah, IQ is an aggregate and quite a weak indicator as to the value and abilities of a brain within a particular game or execution environment. So that's the key point I think to make here.
Okay, all of that makes sense. Thank you very much.
Awesome. Thank you very much for your questions. We've got time just for our last two with the hands up. Tybo, second to last question. Welcome.
Hey, so through the AMA, I've just had this question come up in my mind. It's relating to the training of the brain. Say I'm a new participant in, say, a year's time, and I want to get say Gen 1 brain's a bit about the question, and I want to get a Gen 2 brain. How much, Asto will I need to, because, I know that when we're playing games, it's going to cost money to train these brains. How much out of pocket am I looking, what's a ballpark figure am I thinking of to get a fulfilling experience out of using these brains? How much am I looking at spending to, obviously this is like a variable.
It's a really good question, and the overarching intention of our efforts is to make this accessible. We're not trying to make an elitist gaming area where people need to have enormous whale funds to come and play. That's absolutely not what we're doing here. And the interesting thing about this is the ability to get up to a level where you can enjoy it is actually very much tied to the current strategy and playing style within the league at the time. So you're not trying to catch up the whole time from way back, which I think was sort of part of what you were saying. You're very much jumping in and learning how to strategize and work against the strategies of the time. And so the main point here is that the way that we're modeling this, the economic modeling we're doing around intelligence mining, etc., is all about keeping it accessible and making sure that the amount of compute required to get you into a space where you're enjoying the game is not prohibitive and super expensive, and also is not damaging to the environment, because if we engineered it in a certain way, the impact of lots of compute is not great, right? And so we're really leaning towards making it really accessible, eco-friendly, and cheap to enjoy and engage in AI gamification.
And a follow-up question to that. I know not everything is going to be so we have the quadrant of the map, the genome map, and we have certain strengths and weaknesses. I know that every application that uses the ASM protocol isn't going to be interoperable in terms of speed and, other skill sets that a certain quadrant will show up. But overall, will we see a lot of overlapping with the, so like if I train my brain in soccer, like how interoperable and how much of the how much of the skills that he inherits from that game is it going to pass over and be reflective in another game or another, say, protocol with even to the point of AI bot trading, so like a trading bot. Is there any crossover at all, or is that a completely different memory tree, or is there a mixture of all of this happening?
So it is a completely different memory tree. But and this is open technology, so the interpretation of the genome matrix within different execution environments and games is really up to the developers of those games, and we're not in control of all of that. But we do imagine that the mappings will converge around certain areas, and we certainly see that as a positive thing as it plays out. But it's a really great question.
And one last question, because I'm really curious about this. If you can go into any detail, is when are we going to find out more about the community hive mind aspect? And is that something that you guys have been working on for a while? Because I've never really heard of it before. And I just am really excited to hear something about that, if you can.
Yeah, I'll hold on that for now, and
I'll give you some context, Hal.
Go ahead.
I may have accidentally dropped that video you shared with me the other day, and leaked it.
Well, if I was going to give
Sorry
it
about
to
that.
anybody, if I was going to give it to anybody to leak, and I needed to really make sure that it was going to get leaked, then it would have been you that I would have given it to. But yeah, the answer to that question
but we have been kind of dropping hints about it.
Yeah, the answer to that question is there's a lot of deep work going on there. That's a really exciting demonstration of what we can do in terms of truly decentralized AI on technology that we have today. I see it as like a performance art piece. I don't want to go into it in too much depth. The technical side, we could do another hour on this and start to unpack it, and we will do in the future. But in the near future, the very near future, we're going to do a technical deep dive AMA in text on Discord, most likely, because we've got so much cool stuff to talk about. Often these kind of technical questions don't get addressed in full or get put on the wayside. So I really want to receive questions in text from the community that will allow us to put really deep and well-considered text answers for people to all read and go over, and then we'll roll that up into a Twitter thread of the highlights for people to enjoy, and maybe be an entry point to dig deeper into some of that content. So yeah, put those questions together into text, and we will we'll see to them in the very near future.
Awesome. I'm really looking forward to that, because I really want to take advantage of all the brains I own, and I've been wanting to make like a brain syndicate. And when you said this community hive mind thing, it just, had this aha moment of how much further can I take this brain community that I want to create? Because I really want to crossbreed with different brains that people have and really try and benefit from each other. Because not everyone has all the brains in the world, but together we can make really good synergies. And with this community hive mind thing, it just takes it to the next level. So I'm really excited to know more about that. But thank you anyway for your answer, and I'll be writing up my technical answers for the future AMA.
Awesome, man. Thanks. Cool questions. I look forward to it.
Thank you very much, Tybo, indeed. BTC Hornet, you are our last question. Welcome to the stage.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. I had 3 really quick questions. One, ATM I understand that there's going to be a Genesis 2 brain with each membership to go along with the whole package. Where do those, if that's true, where do those brains come from?
Genome mining.
That's ATM's genome mining. So they're genome mining, and then they're distributing those brains to the members.
Yes, yeah. So they've recently acquired a whole bunch of Asto,
Yeah. Okay.
which, as you know, is used for is going to be used for a lot of things. First of all, genome mining. So that's the first use they're gonna have for the Asto that they've acquired.
Okay. Second question: when do I get to play the AIFA game?
We haven't set a firm date yet, but we're just going into pre-alpha, and not long after, depending on the results of the pre-alpha, we'll be rolling out some beta testing. That'll probably be in the hands of Genesis brain holders before it gets released to the public, so that we can get some beta testing done by the community. But it's definitely this side of Christmas is our intentions.
Damn, it's good to be a Genesis brain holder.
You said this side of Christmas. This side of Christmas. This side
Yes,
of
yeah.
this,
So yeah,
the south side of Christmas.
that's the side of Christmas that we're currently on.
Okay. All right. Well, can it be this side of Labor Day? Well, you don't have Labor Day you don't have Labor Day there. Can you be this side of July? Well, you don't have July 4th either. Damn it! Can you have? Can it be? Can it be this side of? Can it be this side of Santy's honeymoon?
It's this side of Waitangi Day.
Okay, fine. All right. And my last question, David, your voice is coming through loud and strong. There's no gargling. There's no slow down motion. It's crisp. It's clear. I feel bad for you. You've gone through this whole hour, 2 hours, without really saying much. And I want to give you the opportunity to give us some help. Anything. First thing on your mind.
Yeah, so I was wanting to talk about this before, around the concept that as you go through your journey through the metaverse, the open metaverse, and acquire items along the way, some of those items might be used to augment processes like splicing, and that's what I was trying to get out before. Really interesting concept. I like the idea of incorporating interoperable items from across the whole open metaverse into these really interesting sort of technical processes, as an immersive way of engaging with them. So I'll leave you with that.
Has that helped your hunger for alpha, BTC Hornet? Has it got you there?
I'm just no. I think David, you could give it one more shot. That was good, David. Just give it one more shot. Just one more shot. You've got this is your opportunity. We're not going to talk to you in this format for another 2, 3, 4 weeks. Do something now.
We got some trailer footage coming out soon, so keep your eyes open for that. And potentially some mini games as well, which will be really cool. And what the first interactions are. I'm not going to drop any alpha of his, but it's looking pretty cool. I think that's about all I can say.
Very good. Thank you.
Thank you very much, BTC Hornet, trying to extract whatever data you can from David himself. Unfortunately, of no power of my own, he started breaking up there, which, it happens. It happens. Yeah, sorry about that, team. All right, that will do it for our questions section. Any sign-off notes from the team here? We'll go to Erin first. Anything you want to say before we head out?
I want to say that I am literally so excited to be able to mine my brains, and I cannot wait until you guys can see everything that is coming and get to see Aetha Moon and mine brains from anywhere that you would like on Aetha Moon, and get to see the story of the worlds that are so deep and intricate, and and everything that will start to be leaking soon. One thing I wanted to, a little alpha I did want to leak, is keep your eyes out for the very first comic coming soon, where we'll get to see the story of the discovery of and the invention of the device, the Lunaris device that can mine the brains. So more to come
Ooh.
soon.
Ooh. Some serious alpha. The only thing I've got to say is just awesome to be back and chat, and thanks for all the questions. It's really cool. Keep your eyes out for the technical deep dive AMA that will spin up coming soon. I'm really keen to jump in and really start to pull some of this stuff apart because there's a lot of content here. There's a lot of deep research and technical stuff going on in the background that I want to start showing you guys. And then other than that, we're in the States at Consensus in a week or so. So if anyone's in and around wants to come and catch up, give us a shout. And then Erin and the crew will be at NFT NYC, and there might be a few Easter eggs lingering around the area. But yeah, cheers all.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Hal. Unfortunately, we've lost David due to his poor connection, so no sign-off thoughts from him. I think BTC Hornet extracted as much as humanly possible. We have opened a new thread in the Ask Us Anything channel for your tech questions to go into. So if you do have any technical questions you want to ask, please put them in there. I will assemble them all, get them to Hal and his team, and we can compile a little tech question AMA full of insane knowledge and everything like that from the team. So make sure you pop those into that thread.
Hey Dan, before we go off,
yes,
don't forget about the All-Star Wrap.
Yep, it's on the list. It is the last thing we will do for the AMA, and our winner for the All-Star. Dun, 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 dun. I don't have a drum. Rajveer.eth is our winner of the All-Star. There will be an announcement coming out in a few seconds, depending how in sync everyone is with my talking. And just open up a support ticket, and we will send you the details and grab your wallet address and send that off to you. But that is everything for the AMA. Thank you all for tuning in.
Thanks all. See you next time.
Thanks, everybody.
All right.